Hey, Bio 2 students, Mr. Yance again. Let's kind of continue on talking a little bit about pregnancy. So, it's been a long journey to get here, but we've talked about animal reproduction, emphasis on human reproduction, and we talked about if an egg is fertilized. So we divide basically pregnancy up into 3-month periods. First trimester is the first 3 months, second 3 months is the second trimester. Thus the word trimester, just like we do here for school. And then the third trimester is the last part of pregnancy. So a lot of stuff is going on, a lot of changes. It's amazing how the baby grows in that short period of time. And it takes a little longer to go through the first trimester. And then, so we'll do that today. And then we'll wrap up notes on tomorrow, talking about the second, third trimester and childbirth, and we'll be done with this chapter, and we'll take our test next week. So the first trimester is very simply put, there you go, 3-month intervals. This is why I'm going to take a little extra time on this one today. It's the most radical change for both mother and the embryo. So there's a ton of things going on with the embryo and inside the mother's body. So we'll see if this video works. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. So we'll do this first.
At 10 weeks and barely the size of a kumquat, your baby is entering the fetal stage of development. His facial features are defined, and his tooth buds are forming. Over the next weeks, his tissues and organs will rapidly grow and mature. The webbing is gone between his fingers and toes, and his nails and fingerprints are developing. Your baby can open and close his fists and curl his toes. Thanks to his developing muscles and reflexes, he's now moving his limbs and kicking up a storm. If this is your first baby, though, you likely won't feel his flutters until 18 to 20 weeks. Through translucent skin, his vital organs are visible and functioning, including his growing brain, nervous system, intestines, and liver, which is making red blood cells in place of the disappearing yolk sac. The umbilical cord is working hard now. One vein delivers oxygen and nutrient-rich blood to your baby. 2 arteries then carry the blood away. Around week 12, the kidneys have begun producing urine, which your baby will soon start excreting into the amniotic fluid. He'll swallow the fluid and the process will begin again. By week 14, your baby's eyes and ears have moved into place, and he can squint, frown, and grimace. You're now beginning the second trimester of pregnancy, which many women say is when they feel their best.
Okay, so you see a lot of changes going on with the baby. Good picture there on the right. That's 10 to 14 weeks, that video. 5 weeks, it looks like it does on the right. And it's I know it still looks like an alien because the head's just distorted and it's just not done yet. But it's pretty crazy how fast things change and how things grow and start to take place. Okay. Got one more click here. Okay. So that's where we're at in that first trimester. We'll kind of continue on there in a minute. The endometrium grows over the blastocyst. We got a rich blood supply. The placenta is going to develop and start feeding the baby. And those systems are going to start kicking in. So in those first few, 10 to 14 weeks, you got all 10 systems on anatomy lesson, 10 systems in place. And they're starting to kick in and produce urine, make red blood cells, the intestines, the stomach, everything's going to start to function like it will for the rest of that baby's life. Okay. So let's kind of break it down. So during the first 2 to 4 weeks, the embryo obtains nutrients directly from the endometrium. And the yolk sac, we talked a little bit about that in mitosis and meiosis. The outer layers of the blastocyst, we got this rapidly dividing cell, start out as 2 cells, egg and sperm. We watched a video on that yesterday. And then that's called a trochoblast. And then it mingles with the endometrium, and then eventually that's going to develop into the placenta, and the umbilical cord is going to hook up, and that's what's going to start feeding that baby. It's very, very important that mother takes care of herself at this point. You got to be careful what you're putting into your body. When they go to the doctor and in those first few months or first few weeks of the pregnancy, they'll put you on a vitamin regimen because you got to get nutrients to that baby, and they're going to tell you to limit certain things, alcohol, and you got to be careful what kind of prescription drugs you take and that type of thing. And unfortunately, there's a ton of people out there that disregard that, and they drink, and then we have fetal alcohol syndrome, or they take drugs, and you have babies addicted to cocaine and heroin, all these awful things when they're born. So it's really important that we understand that whatever's going in to that mom is going into that baby. Okay, and misconception, you're not really eating for 2. Some women gain more weight than they should during pregnancy because they're thinking, well, I got to eat for 2. You'll get enough nutrients and things will work. You just have to be kind of use judgment there. And you can see there's the endometrium, there's the placenta and the umbilical cord, and that's all going to start kicking in, and we're going to start feeding that baby through the blood system. Okay, so maternal veins and arteries take blood away from the heart or the baby. Veins bring it in, and it circulates, and everything's going in that amniotic fluid. So that's important to remember too. Okay, the embryo, if it splits during the first month of the development, that is genetically identical twins. That's how we get twins. Is that one embryo splits and you get 2 identical babies of the same sex. Release and fertilization of 2 eggs, that's called fraternal twins, and they're just as genetically different as any other siblings. They do not share DNA, they just share the same birth date. Okay, so kind of remember that. The first trimester is the main period of what we call organogenesis, which means the development of body organs. Genesis means to be born. Put the word organ in there, that makes sense. All the major structures are present by 8 weeks, and then that's called a fetus. And I know, and I'm not going to get into this debate with pro-life and pro-choice and abortion and all that issues. Okay, that's for another day. But just understand, at 8 weeks, it is a fetus and everything is fully in place. Just want to throw that out there. Okay. Changes do occur in the mom, so let's go through that real quick. And you can see this takes a little time to go through. The mucus plug protects against infections, so that's going to shut off the cervix during the pregnancy, so that it keeps the amniotic fluid inside of the uterus so it doesn't leak out. Growth of the placenta and uterus is going to occur during the first trimester. You're not going to have any more ovulation or menstrual cycle during that 9 months. There is obviously hormones that are released to prevent that from happening. Breast enlargement obviously is going to start occurring. Nausea is pretty common. My wife was very fortunate. She didn't really have morning sickness, but a lot of people do have a little nausea. Very common in a lot of pregnant women, just kind of comes with that. Okay. All right. So that's basically what's happening to the baby and happening to the mom. A lot of stuff's going on in that first trimester. And then we transition into the second 3-month period called the second trimester. And you saw from the video, that's when usually pregnant women say they feel the best. And then you get into the third one when they're going to kind of get miserable again because that baby's growing really big by that point. So we'll finish up notes tomorrow. We'll do the second and third trimester. As always, if you got questions, shoot me an email, and we'll kind of wrap up notes next section. So, hey, have a good day. See you. Bye.